Welcome to the Salt Strong Podcast, disrupting fishing entertainment as you know it. Prepare to laugh. Prepare to get to know fishing legends in a whole new and unfiltered way. And on occasion, you might even learn a thing or two about fishing. Here's your host, Joe Simons. Like diamonds.
The earliest manuscript of Jesus' childhood is discovered. Hey everybody, Joe Simons, like diamonds, back again with Salt Strong Unchurched. And yes, this is pretty cool, fresh news here in mid-June. The earliest manuscript of the gospel about Jesus' childhood is discovered. And this is an article that came out here recently. Is someone who loves Jesus, loves history. I just like learning about stuff. I was intrigued by this. I saw this article originally on Facebook, where, as a lot of you know, that's where I get my news. I don't watch the news. Whether it's wrong or right, it's probably wrong. But that's kind of where I find out about new stuff because I don't watch the news. I don't read newspapers. I'm kind of out of the loop, if you will. And at least for me personally, it keeps me a whole lot more positive because I'm not worried about any of the craziness going on in this world. And quite honestly, it hasn't impacted me yet by not knowing it. I just kind of focus on what I'm doing and my family, et cetera. But I do get news like this, and every once in a while it gets me riled up, which is part of the whole part of what news wants you to do and the media wants you to do. And I see this article, right? Just like you might, right? If you saw, like, imagine seeing this old, looks like papyrus, looking scroll with some Hebrew written on it, and it says earliest manuscript of the gospel about Jesus' childhood discovered. Like, oh, cool, that's awesome. And it had, I don't know, let's just say 300 and some comments. It was hundreds of comments on it in Facebook. So first I read the article. I'm like, oh man, this is kind of cool. And this podcast, ironically, is not about the article in particular. You can go read it for yourself. But yes, it really was found. And then I started just reading the comments. I always get curious, like, what are other people saying about this? I was blown away. Maybe flabbergasted, startled is a better word. Alarmed is another word I would use. So as I'm going through these 300 comments, I didn't read every single one, but I read enough to kind of get the message. There were so many people, as in like 80% or more, were so against this, ridiculing it. Oh my gosh, I can't believe people still believe in Jesus. I can't believe people think that Christianity is even real. Don't we know better? And I'm like, where do these people come from? Who's ever said that Jesus wasn't real? Like, they almost seem stupid for saying that. It'd be one thing if they said he wasn't the savior, but there's very few people that say Jesus wasn't a real person, that it wasn't a make-believe mythical person or creature. Sitting, I'm shaking my head at some of this stuff, and it just keeps going. And I'm like, whoa. And then the handful of good comments, like you tell people who truly were Christians or even historians who actually were adding value in the comments, they were just getting bashed by everyone else. It was just like absolute bullying on anyone who believed in Christianity or Jesus or even thought this was cool. And my initial thought was, just knowing media and stuff, I was like, all right, this has to be a bunch of plants, meaning like AI robots. Like, these comments probably, they have to be made up. So I start clicking on each individual's Facebook, personal profile to view their profile on anyone who had said something incredibly negative or said, oh gosh, you kidding me? Do you still believe in Jesus? That's like believing in Santa Claus. Like that's the kind of mentality people had here, that this was just all some sort of joke. And so I'm clicking on these people's individual Facebook profiles, and what happened was really interesting. One after another, I'm talking 100% of these, at least the ones that had their profile public, they all were saying negative things about Jesus in other places and sharing things that were just full of hate. You could tell some of these people, were posting their whole lives about the divorce they're going through, how they hate this person, they hate this person, they hate this politician. It was so full of hate and anger. As another thing I saw, I was blown away. And so these were all real people. These weren't plants, or they weren't just some AI generated comments to get people riled up. These were real people that had real profiles with a lot of just it was sad to see how much hate and animosity and just unhappiness, honestly, is probably the best word for it. And so I sat back and I kind of processed all this, because I went through a lot of, I didn't go through all 300 comments, but I went through 50 or 60 of these things. And once again, 100% of them were just absolute, flat out negative, hateful people these were, once again, people that did not believe in God, didn't believe in Jesus. And I went back to, even my book, Fishing for Happiness. And I wrote that because I was unhappy at the time, and I was not really full of hope. I wasn't angry. I got a little depressed sometimes. And those were the times where I didn't really know that I had a purpose. Right. And to me, that's what Jesus gives you, right? I mean, can you imagine going through your life as a child, adult, doesn't matter, any age, and just believing that there's no God and you weren't here for any purpose? It was just all haphazard. I mean, to me, that means your life doesn't matter, right? You're just a number, you go away and no one cares. I mean, that's the opposite of having a purpose and knowing that a God put you here for a very, very specific purpose. I mean, that gives me hope, right? I mean, just like running a business, it's interesting when you have a business and a purpose behind it. It's crazy, like you don't get sick. It's really, really wild, the studies they've done on business owners, how few, if any, sick days they take. And some of it, might be because I just can't afford to, but a lot of it too is just people don't get sick as much when you have this massive purpose that you're waking up excited for every single day. And for those of you who've read my book or even just heard some of my talks about anxiety, when I finally just started going all in with God and Jesus, my life got better. Like, I had hope, I had excitement, I had a reason to wake up and want to take on the world. And I just knew I was put here for a purpose. And yet none of these people did. And these are the same people that are going out of their way, mind you, to comment negatively about Christianity, which almost makes me wonder, like, what's their fear? Are they, because normally if you're 100% secure in your belief, you don't have to defend it, especially on Facebook, right? And you don't have to defend it against every little post on social media that goes against your belief. I see stuff all the time. I don't have to sit there and defend it. I can laugh about it and say, well, I know what I believe. I'm very secure in what I believe. If I wasn't secure and I was a little bit, I don't know, maybe fearful that I might be wrong, I want to defend it and just prove my point to make me feel a little bit better, right? I mean, what do insecure people do? Right? They usually try to lash out and make other people feel worse or bring other people down around them so that they can once again feel better about themselves, because once again, they're insecure. When you're secure, you don't have to do that stuff. So I'm also looking at all these people like saying, gosh, like, wow, how insecure are you to have to bash Christianity and bash something that you haven't even taken the time to read the article? It's 100% true. Like, and if you did any research at all, you'd realize that Jesus was 100% a real person. I mean, how I shouldn't say this word. How uneducated do you look when you say things like that on social media in the first place? And so I went back and really started just thinking about it. And he was like, you know what, God, I feel like God's telling me to pray over these people. So I'm starting to pray over these people and just like, regardless of what happens in their life or when they, discover Jesus or God, or maybe realize they're wrong, I pray that they do. And I pray ultimately they just find some happiness in their life. I mean, these people seemed absolutely miserable just from what I could see on Facebook. I didn't meet any of these people one-on-one, but just the stuff they're putting on there, you could see in almost every one of their posts, it was slanted towards negativity, hate, why I hate this person. I mean, a couple of them were ripping on family members and divorce stuff. It was absolutely mind-boggling that 100% of these people were just full of hate and fear. And anyhow, so this was kind of like bugging me all day, because I'm like, how could this many people, like 80% of the population who's reading this article, be against it and not even be somewhat excited that they found a historical thing that the historical thing didn't even like say, oh, Jesus is king. It was just talking about Jesus is a kid in his youth. It shouldn't even have got anyone riled up who didn't believe in Christianity. It was, I don't know, the whole thing was just fascinating. So it's kind of bothering me. It's like, man, is the whole America just against God and Jesus these days? Like, what is happening? And that morning, as some of you know, I read the daily Bible. I have trouble reading the Bible, maybe like some of you, meaning if I had to just sit down and start reading the Bible, I'd be, I don't know, it's really tough for me to do that. But when I got that once a day of the daily Bible, where essentially you just read for 10 minutes and it pulls out the 10 minutes for you to read every day. And after a year, you've literally read the entire Bible. So it may be 15 minutes some days, but most of them are that 10 to 12 minutes. And I can do that. And so I hadn't done that yet that day. And so I went and did that. And lo and behold, it's so wild how many times like God puts the right message right in front of my face. And there's some Old Testament, New Testament, Psalms and Proverbs, and the Proverbs was 17, and it was like 9 through 17. But here's the last sentence of the very last sentence of my reading for that day, the same day that all this stuff is kind of bugging me, and it says, "Evil people are eager for rebellion." And the other version said, "Evil people are eager to stir up things," right? Which is what was happening, but they will be severely punished. And the other one says, God will destroy them, is another version. So evil people are eager for, how come I can't tongue twister here? Evil people are eager for rebellion, but they will be severely punished. And the other version said, God will destroy them. And I was just like, whoa, here I am worried about these people and letting them kind of get underneath my skin, just because I deep down, I wanted to defend them, but at the same point, I'm secure, and I'm like, it's not worth my time, because I saw what happened to all the people who did try to defend this as being somewhat exciting and historical news. They just got completely bashed. So, I'm just like, all right, I'm not going to do it. And there it is. God's basically saying, Joe, leave it alone. I got this. Evil people, yeah, they're eager to do this. There's a lot of evil out there. These people are unhappy, don't believe in me, don't believe in Jesus, don't believe in anything. I'm going to take care of them. They will be severely punished. And already, I think they're going through the punishment. I'm just seeing how unhappy these people are just from their Facebook comments. I feel like they're already going through some of the punishment. And I tell you all this because it all really goes back to having that purpose, right? To having that mission. And if you don't believe that you were even put on this earth for a reason, it's kind of tough to find your purpose. Right? If you believe that there's no God and you're just here completely by chance and it's just haphazard, it's really tough to define a purpose or a mission in life, right? I don't know how you could personally. And this is stuff I struggle with for many years. That's why I went down the path of reading everything I could on the self-help and about God and just different religions as well, and trying to kind of find my purpose on this earth. And it wasn't until I really accepted God and Jesus Christ into my life that all the kind of like the blinders were off. These doors started opening up. My life got better. I found true happiness. I mean, got over my anxiety. Like all these awesome things in my life started happening. And if you look at kind of one pivotal point there, it was right when I had the cancer. And that was when I really just went all in on God. I was like, all right, I'm living life the wrong way. I feel like I've had a million warnings of things going bad in my life. Maybe I should just accept God and Jesus Christ once and for all and just go all in on it. Not kind of on the fence or teetering. Some days I will, some days I won't, which is how I was living. I wasn't ever anti-Christian ever. I just was kind of teetering. I was kind of lukewarm about the whole thing. And as soon as I went all in, that's when everything just started changing. And so that's my encouragement to you. If you are struggling, or maybe you're teetering like me, or maybe you're one of the people that were on the Facebook post, I doubt it if you're listening to Unchurched, but regardless of where you are, I would challenge you to go all in. And I think you'll be shocked at what happens in your life in a pretty short amount of time as well. When God sees you living your best life and doing everything with all the special skills and gifts that he gave each and every one of us. When you start living with a purpose, I mean, you get healthier, you feel better, you got more energy, all the things that we all want, even just more freedom and more hope and more joy. I mean, who wouldn't want all that stuff? And that's, to me, what I got when I started really, truly believing in God, Jesus. That doesn't mean every day is going to be perfect, right? That's not what this is about. And we've done multiple podcasts about why we have bad days and why there's suffering and why bad things happen. And normally it's to get us ready or get us stronger for something in the future. Just like my anxiety attacks, that all happened for an absolute 100% reason. And I'm grateful for it now, knowing what I know and knowing how many people I've been able to impact through that. So just want to share that with you. If you do want to go check out, that article, you can go look it up on Google. It's very interesting stuff. I'd love any of your feedback. If you've seen similar things, let me know. I'd love to hear any thoughts on this. Like I said, I'm not bugged by it now. That it was wild just reading that one proverb at the end, how it just like, you know what? God's got this. It's not on me to get mad or have to solve the world's issues on something like this one article that bugged me. And I was able to move on and enjoy my day and not let it bug me. But I wanted to share it with you because I do think, one, is this going to be an ongoing issue. There are so many unhappy people. There is a ton of evil out there. And, I guess the big lessons is, one, go all in with God. The people who aren't just flat out are not happy. In many cases, they're just miserable. And number two, don't feel like you gotta take on every single thing out there. God's got this. He's so much more powerful than any of us. And it's not our job to sit there and lash out at every single person on Facebook or whatever. Let them be miserable. Let them have their own little pity party, whatever it is they're doing and trying to defend themselves. And I hope this one hit home to the right people. That's what I pray about every time I do one of these episodes. And I'm excited to share more next week. Love you guys, and hit me up, joe@saltstrong.com. If you have any thoughts, prayer requests, questions, other ideas, etc., I'd love to hear from you.
'Cause fishing, it's in my soul, it was pain.